So this is going to be the first room that we're in that has one of the pieces of the Triforce we're looking for. And Phi's going to point out what we need to be seeing here. There's this kind of gated off room with the Mark of Furore carved into the floor, and she detects the sacred power of the Triforce from its vicinity. To reach that area, I propose you go through the door in front of you. Sage advice, you know, that's good for most situations. So this one's a little bit different than the rooms we've seen so far. This one's basically kind of a gauntlet of fights. There are 3 in total we're going to have to do. What I like to do to start this one out is use the bow. Unfortunately, he saw me and started running towards me, which makes this a little bit harder. Yeah, I'm not going to have much luck with this, so we're just going to have to take him out with the sword. I usually like to take the first one down with arrows. If you want to do it with the sword, you basically just have to. This is why I don't like fighting it with the sword, because it's very easy to actually get knocked off this platform. Alright, so let's see if... Really, the only time you can attack him is when you counter his stab. Oh, man. See, this is exactly why I do not like doing this. Okay, we made it. We also got access to his back there, which worked pretty well. Okay, so that takes out one. The second one still, thankfully, has not caught on to me, so we can just take him out with arrows. Okay, looks like that took care of him. We're actually going to need arrows for the next section, so I might not have wanted to use all of those. We've only got 3 left. However, we can actually pick up some more, because there's going to be some archers shooting at us in this room. And we can basically use their arrows to our advantage. So as we walk forward, this guy will see us. And basically, as soon as they shoot, you can just move to the side and then pick up the arrow that gets left behind. And I think 6 should be enough. Oh. Okay, well, I jumped a little too soon there. Alright, so that should be good. So let's go ahead and take this guy out. And then you can see there are even more archers up here. Take that one out. There's also a pretty tricky one through here who can actually shoot you if you don't see him. And that takes out most of them. There's actually still one more archer that in order to take out, we're going to have to just kind of step into things here. Oh yeah, I knew I was going to get hit. Okay, I can't even see what's going on. Alright. And for some reason, that just didn't even do anything. Alright, well, we can just fight the melee guys kind of around here then, so the archer can't get to us. Oh, this is not going well. Not going well at all. This is probably like the worst I've ever done at anything in Skyward Sword. Right, so there's one of the Stelphos down. Alright, and that's the other Stelphos down. I think that's most of them. However, I still do not have any arrows. So I wonder if these things have arrows. Nope. So we'll just have to get one from this guy. Oh, of course. There we go. Man, I'm not sure what it is, but I am just not doing very well today. Alright, so let's go into the door that's now opened up, and this is going to be the final room, which I think is a little bit easier, honestly. Like, that room just really just gives me headaches every time I go through it. But this one isn't as bad. You can tell we've got one of these kind of upgraded Stelphoses. I think they're called Stall Masters. And we're also going to be kind of bombarded with these zombie bokoblins. Forgot what they're called, curse bokoblins or something. So I really just kind of like to get out of the way of his attacks, of course. I kind of just like to ignore the curse bokoblins and just go after this guy. I mean, your strikes will kind of send them flying, so they can't really do anything to you. So I like to just stick with him. If you see one get near you, though, you can, of course, just dodge out of the way. But I pretty much just pretend like they're not even there and go after the big threat first. going after the heart kind of cost me there. It doesn't really even matter too much. Just as long as you don't die, really, it's all that makes a difference. Alright, so let's get this guy going again. Oh, wow. He actually attacked me, like, while I was hitting him. That was strange. Oh, man. I've never really seen him be this aggressive either. For some reason, like, everything is just conspiring against me, I think. Alright, so we took out the Stallmaster, which is, of course, the big threat. And now we can deal with all these Cursed Goblins. He also leaves behind a fairy, which is useful. We might want to bottle it, but then again, it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, also at this point, we can kind of start killing these guys without having to do the finishing blow. I guess the True Master Sword just does so much damage that it goes through their incredibly high HP pretty quickly. And, well, since the fairy's still around, I guess we can go ahead and bottle it. And of course, you can tell since the music ended, we've now finally finished that gauntlet. Like I said, that was probably the worst I've done at just about anything in Skyward Sword, so not really having too good a time with it here in this dungeon, but thankfully we've got past that section. So now we can move into this room that has the Mark of Furore on it, and Fai's going to give us a little bit of instruction here. So we basically treat these the same way we do the Silent Realms, just thrust our sword into it. And just like the Silent Realms, we're taken into this little alternate dimension here. And as you can see, straight ahead of us is the part of the Triforce. There's nothing really too interesting about this area, which is kind of disappointing. I wish they'd thrown like some obscure reference somewhere, you know, like up here in the top. But, you know, it's just kind of a circular room, not really too much. Let's go ahead and pick up a part of the Triforce. And this is why I said it doesn't really matter how much life you lose, because each of these pieces actually restore your health to full. So as long as you survive and get to it, that's really all that matters in the end. Okay, so now we can clear the bars here. And this will let us get back. Now that we've finished this piece of the Triforce, we're going to head back to the previous room and use that console again to move things around some more. Oh, that was kind of strange. And like I said, get used to seeing this console. We're going to be going back here multiple times. Okay, so at this point, we want to move these around. Obviously, we're going to be getting to the red one next because we can from the center room here. So this is going to give us access to the next one. Okay, now we have yet another room that we have not been through. This one, I think, is supposed to be the Earth Temple. I'm pretty sure. But again, like I said, I kind of get the Earth Temple confused with some of the other ones. Honestly, I'm not sure which one's which. I may have gotten it wrong. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We're here. So we need to press forward. We've got a couple different ways that are kind of blocked off to us. There's one down there. There's also a door up here that's blocked off. So as Fai said, we're going to have to make our way down this river of magma here, and we're going to obviously use these water plants to do so. And then this is going to get things going. Now, while we're on these platforms, we're going to have to be doing a bit of work. It's kind of good in some ways that they're slow moving. This is simple. We've just got to fight off the fire keys that come for us. But then once we do that, we're going to have to do a bit of work. I think one more and we're good. Alright, so you can see this crystal switch on the other side. We're going to need to hit it. You can use arrows, slingshots, whatever, but, you know, I prefer to use the hook beetle. And that'll get that part of the stream flowing. Now, we're going to have to time this out pretty well, because you can see, once we get to the end, this thing's going to go away. So what we're going to do is shoot at this here now. That'll cause a platform to start forming, and then once we get lined up, we can just hop across and onto it. We're going to have to be doing this a couple times. Also with this one, we're going to need to stop the flow from this head so we don't get burned when we try to go through it. And there we go. So we're pretty much done with this little first section. We're actually going to get to open up the first shortcut once we get done with this. We can also play around if we want and make some more platforms to follow us. And some recovery hearts there if you need them. Just kind of growing along the side of the wall. I kind of like that. Alright, so this is one of the sections where it can get kind of annoying that they're so slow, but, you know, you might be thankful for it once we have to get to the sections where we have to do a lot of work, you know. Alright, so let's not rush things. I don't want to fall in the lava. Okay, so we can jump on here, and once we pull this wall switch, that will open up the first shortcut back to the beginning of the room, so we don't have to worry about that ever again. So here, we can guess what we need to do. We're going to have to hit this water plant, make a platform. And we are also going to get accosted by these cursed keys coming up here. Once we clear those out, we're going to have to send the hook beetle up and around in order to hit this crystal switch. Man, we just barely made it through there. And that'll get a flow going there, and also stop the flow on the other side of the wall. And then we can use the hook beetle to hit this. I feel like I'm a little behind, but I think we should be able to make this still. There we go. And then we'll get it going over here. So now at this point we just have to wait. If you want some rupees, we can send the hook beetle up into this little window section here. The silver rupee. But you know, again, at this point in the game, who really cares about rupees, right? So you can see there's a lava platform being brought up and down by this geyser underneath it. We're going to pretty much just have to wait till we get on there in order to complete this section. And also the battle music is starting for some reason. Alright, yeah, wipe off the sweat. It's probably pretty hot in here. Alright, so then once we get on here, we're basically safe. This platform never goes away, so you can take your time from here on out. We want to send the hook beetle back around. Again, another recovery heart up there if you need it. We're going to go back around and hit this switch one more time in order to send the flow back in this direction. And then from here, we turn around and hit this. That'll cause another platform. Now, hopefully, this will be brought up in time for us to jump on it. There we go. That's good. Okay, now we've got our platform, we've got the lava flowing, and from here on out, it's basically just staying with this one. And we can take these guys out. And I would take that one out with an arrow, however, I don't have any, so we're just going to have to do Skyward strikes once we get a little closer. Now this is basically the end. We're just going to have to hit this claw shot target. Make sure to wait though, because if you clip this thing in the corner, you'll actually just fall straight into the lava. So definitely you don't want to have to do it over at this point. And we can make the shortcut here. You also saw the mark here on the ground. We can thrust into that. Okay, and the next Triforce piece is directly in front of us. Let's go ahead and grab that, and that makes 2 out of 3. Okay, so now instead of this shortcut we just made, we're actually going to head back this way, because this is the one that's going to take us back to the door we came in from. We can make our way up here, and there's yet another shortcut we can make. There's like a total of 3, I think, in this place. So we can do that, and this is going to be the upper platform that was at the beginning. So now we can head back here and use that console one more time. This should, I believe, be the last time we do it. So we'll, if you're sick of this room, this is the last time we'll have to come through. Okay, and now for the final one, if I've set this up right, we should be able to just rotate counterclockwise here. Something I think might have messed up because this isn't looking right to me. So I may have to do a little extra work to get there. I don't know, it might though. Actually, I think it's looking okay. Yes, that's perfect. See, that makes a little bridge there. The blue one is definitely the hardest one to get to with only the left door. But if you do it in the order that I did it, you can pretty much just get in the center room and then rotate everything around, and it'll all work out perfectly, so that's good. And of course, we've completed basically all of the regular rooms. So at this point we can just make our way through the other two that are connecting it. You know, now that I think about it, this is the Earth Temple, right? And then the other one with all the lava was the Fire Sanctuary. I thought I had messed those two up, but I believe that is right. And this is actually the opening room, which is pretty cool to be going through again. I kind of like that. So let's just make our way through here. And then once we get to this section, this should be the final room that houses the last piece of the Triforce. And of course, the last room is going to be a type of time shift puzzle. So we can look over here and see, yes, there is indeed the final mark. And she's also going to point out the time shift orb. Alright, so this is going to be the final puzzle of the Sky Keep. First things first, going to take out this guy here. And of course, our objective at the beginning here is to make our way over to the time shift orb. Alright, and once we do that, it's going to be a lot simpler to get around because we can just walk since everything gets turned into grass. And let's see, I believe the first thing we're going to do is there's a little spot over here that's marked for us to set it on. It's really nice that they put these here so you don't have to like go up and see if it worked and then head back and all that, you know. So you can see that way's blocked off for us for right now. What we're going to have to do, this can be a little bit of a tricky run, but it's not too bad. If we just head straight for it, it uses most of our stamina, but not quite all. And then we can make our way back here, and it turns out that setting the time shift orb there actually released this little wall switch, which I do not have arrows to hit. I hope one of these barrels should have an arrow refill in them. Yes, okay. Because if it didn't, I would have been in a world of trouble. All right, now let's go back and try this again. Alright, so let's get this shot in. It's a little bit of a far shot, but not too bad. And that will lower the gate over there. Yeah, it is kind of annoying having to wait for stamina to recharge before you can go across these things. You know, I wonder if they could have just done without the whole stamina meter thing, you know? Just let us sprint whenever we want. It probably would have been a lot more convenient, maybe a little less realistic, I guess, but, you know, it would make gameplay a little easier. Alright, so we got a couple, whoa. I totally just hit that guy while he was charging. That was awesome. So at this point, we're going to place the time shift orb right about here, just kind of where the Deku Babas are hanging, and we can make our way through here. It's kind of a specific place you have to press that because you don't want it so far out that it activates this fan. However, you do want it far enough that you can actually walk there on the quicksand. So we're going to have to make a clever little shot here. Get over just a bit. It's hard to move like just a step, you know. Alright, so then we can hit that eye switch, and it will open up yet another gate, which is, of course, giving us access to a claw shot target. So now our objective is to head back out. Okay, and we can head over this way. I think we're going to activate a couple of enemies along the way. At least, yeah, a couple Technoblins. He wasn't even looking this way, so that works for me. And yeah, we're gonna have to take this one out too. Alright, now we're gonna have to do another pretty precise placement here. You basically want it just far enough that that platform rises, because we're gonna have to use it to get into that area we just opened up. So we can run back along this way and make our way up to where the time shift orb originally was. And now we can use the platforms we just made in order to hop across here, and then use, not the arrows, but the claw shots to get up here. And also, I think the time shift stone needs to be here, because I think there might be something blocking the path, so it's kind of a delicate balance you have to strike. But then we can finally thrust our sword in here, and this will take us to the third piece of the Triforce. Alright, so now the Triforce is complete. We finally have the ability to vanquish Demise. Alright, so we have succeeded in defeating Demise in our age, but unfortunately Girahim, of course, has another trick up his sleeve. He was waiting for us at the sealed ground, he's kidnapped Zelda, and is now taking her into the past to try to revive Demise there. So obviously we're going to have to go after them, we can't let this stand. However, we're going to go ahead and save and quit for now, and next time we will chase Girahim into the past and save Zelda one more time. So until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.